born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. And I sure do love my job. Yeah. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I'm born to preach the gospel. And I sure do love my job. Yeah. Yes, I really love my job. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Yes, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Let's get firmly rooted. Firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. Yeshua, 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 Yeshua. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. We're disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. Let's keep firmly rooted. Firmly rooted.
Good morning. Well, it looks like there's quite a crowd here this morning. Good morning, Ken. Glad to see you. I'd like to start out this morning apologizing to Aaron in advance because I know this has been his baby for a while now, and I'm gonna come in here and mess it all up. No, I'm gonna respectfully try to do the best I can in his absence. We are talking about living sin. With me, it's different. So I thought, you know what? I've seen the living sin stuff, and I watch it, and I struggle sometimes to put myself in there. And I imagine a lot of us do that. A lot of us look at it and go, Well, so then I did some reading this week on living sin. I thought, what does living sin look like? And if you do a Google search of living sin, there's not a lot there. It's just, well, it's a term that we use, but it doesn't seem to have a definition really well. I consider it more like evangelism. That was the thing. And there's lots of stuff on evangelism. Oh my goodness. I was like overwhelmed with stuff. So that's where I decided to go. I decided to go with a little evangelism because so many of us struggle with getting out and sharing our faith, witnessing our faith and how it affects others and you. Matthew 28:19 says it simply and pure. Jesus told his disciples, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit. It's not complicated. It's super simple. And sometimes as humans, we like to make it complicated. He didn't say, go out and every one of you be pastors and stand on a stage and preach. He didn't say that. So as I was reading this week, I found this really good article by, I don't even know who the author was. It was an internet article, but I thought this guy shared some really fascinating stuff, and I'm pretty sure it's okay. It passed the heart test anyway with me. He asked the question, is there more than one way to be an evangelist? And he came up with three possible, the three most plausible ways of doing it. And I like the way he does them, because a lot of us do these things and we don't know it. He said the number one example how people are evangelists are pulpit evangelists. They're priests or pastors. They stand in front of a group and they preach and they teach. And really the good part about that is they get a large group and they get to give one large message, and it hits the ears of believers, non-believers, anybody that's in the room. The cons of that, though, are that it can be impersonal. It's a basic message, or it's a message that if the Spirit doesn't get in there, then you might just be hearing words. But we don't have that problem in our church, thank God. And then the second type of evangelism he talked about was aggressive planned evangelism. And I think we can look at that as a very scary topic for a lot of people, because it's usually a complete stranger. It's usually somebody you meet on the street. You make eye contact with them, you talk to them, you relate to them. And it allows the evangelist to use his specific gifts, be it prayer, be it compassion and discernment. That gift can allow them to use that gift on that one person. And that's why they call it aggressive planned evangelism. I think aggressive is probably a bad word. It seems to me that it's directed. It's directed at a person or a small, really small group. It doesn't demand a lot of your time. I mean, it could be something that happens, you don't have to devote 75 hours a week to evangelism if you're doing this kind of evangelism. It could be 3 minutes at a coffee shop. It could be 10 minutes at work. But it can be scary. Let's face it, it can be scary for a lot of people to talk to strangers, to put yourself out there, because not only are you talking to a stranger, but you're also opening yourself up to criticism and maybe even a little judgment. However, the key to this one is you have to always remember it's never about you. You're sharing a message, good news, hope. It's nothing to do with you. It's just you're sharing it. But it still can be scary. We get that. So then the third form of evangelism this guy shared was passive evangelism. And there's three places where that can be done: the workplace, in your neighborhood, in your community, or your home. The workplace, you work around people every day. If you're cussing and swearing all day long at work, if you're tough on the people that you work with, that you treat them poorly, or they see you coming into work after a hard night of partying or whatever you do, and how you just deal with customers or other workers, you can evangelize by how you do these things. You can evangelize. People they see something about you that makes them curious. Your neighbors, the same thing. You live next door. They hear you yelling at your kids. They live next door to you. They see all the dirty laundry. And then at home, you can influence Please, imagine if you can influence everyone in your family. Wouldn't want to do that? Who doesn't want your kids to know the good news? Who doesn't want your mom and dad to know the good news? But they're also your harshest critic. To anybody talk to a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old and know that you're going to get a tough answer back. We know that. It's just how family is. The harshest critic. And also your greatest ally. Because I can talk bad about my parents, but don't you dare. I mean, we've seen that, haven't we? This last one can be it can be probably the easiest one for the people that are a little insecure or shy, and it might be a great place to start. I mean, anybody can do it. It doesn't even take anything. The only risk in this is somewhere down the line, you have to take the next step. Somewhere down the line, you have to tell them about the hope you have in Jesus. I look at these three characteristics and I see, I think of great evangelists, like in pulpit evangelists, there's Billy Graham, right? And you see how he lived his life. He was always in front of the camera and he was preaching these great messages. Aggressive planned evangelism. It's guys like Aaron that go out and stop a stranger in the street and pray for him. It's guys like Tom who stand in a coffee shop and work through the problems of a person that stopped to get a coffee. Passive evangelism. The first one I thought of when I thought of passive evangelism is Franklin Graham, Billy's son. He takes the gospel message in the form of Samaritan's Purse, an organization that's just out there to do good. He's just helping, fixing homes and feeding people, and he's given the message of God. And he probably is a pulpit evangelist as well, but he's using the passive evangelism method to bring God to the people. People want to hear his message because Franklin Graham fixed my house when it blew over by a tornado, or Franklin Graham fed my children when there was a flood. We can use evangelism so many ways. There's no hard written rule. Jesus didn't say you have to do it a certain way. He said you have to do it. And if we understand our spiritual gifts, and it's very important to understand your spiritual gifts, but then what do you do with them? I was told a long time ago by a very smart man that a personal faith testimony is probably the best way that you can evangelize. And everybody should have a testimony. We all have come to the church for one reason or another. That's your testimony. The reason you believe in Jesus, that's your testimony. It may not be involved car chase or explosions, but to somebody it will connect. Now, do you walk up to a stranger on the street and give them your personal testimony? Probably not. You offer to pray for them, if that's what God is calling you to do. And that's the thing we have to do. Paul, look at Paul's message. Paul's message to most everybody saw that Jesus Christ was crucified and died and sacrificed once for all men. Now he sits at the right hand of God. Did he get in anybody's face? Well, he did. That's probably wrong to say that. But I'm saying that was the message he kept delivering over and over again. I would say he might have been all three. That's the message I have for you today. Oh, wait. There is also one other way to evangelize. It's probably my favorite. You get your big box and you stand on the corner. And you stand up in the corner and you get up and you go, sinners. Sinners, you're all sinners, and you're going to hell if you don't find Jesus. As simple as that. That might be a little sarcasm. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate the time. And may Jesus see someone in you today. Oh my, I probably should have been ready for this part, shouldn't I? Have a nice day.